The presenting sponsor of Moon Tower Soccer is FVF Law.
To find out what makes FVF a different kind of injury law firm, you can visit fvf.law.
Hello friends, thanks for listening to Moon Tower Soccer. This week we are not going to review the July 5th match against LAFC because it didn't happen, but we will preview Tuesday's match in San Jose in the US Open Cup. We'll preview the weekend match at home versus the New England Revolution. We'll cover some Austin FC news, including another player rumor / report, and I'm also going to subject my co-host to a game I made up. My name's Landon Cottom, and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Jeremiah Bentley.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeremiah Bentley. I am joined as sometimes by a man whose mustache and top of his hair match in a way that I appreciate and only he can pull off, Mike Crignola.
Howdy. I'm so happy to be here today with y'all on the big show.
Mike, I need to talk to you for a second.
Yeah. Jeremiah, don't listen.
I'm
Okay,
the one.
yeah, I'm going away.
It's kind of my thing to be the one with the wild aesthetic on the show. So I don't appreciate you coming in here and big timing me with a mohawk and a giant mustache.
I'm so sorry, Landon. I didn't mean to upstage you. I just thought it might be fun to try the mustache out, and it's really growing on me.
Wait. No, I thought I had a rim shot on the soundboard, but I don't.
I'll take a Gam chant. Perfect.
Okay, just don't let it happen again, Mike.
Yeah, no, I won't. All right, Jeremiah, come back in here.
Okay, I'm getting back. What you guys
thanks so
talk about
much.
while I was gone?
It's kind of personal.
All right, I'm good. I'm fine with being left out of that discussion.
Yeah, it's not you. It's I messed up. Actually, Jeremiah, you want to grab a minute? Landon, do you mind?
Yeah, for sure.
So Landon's super sensitive because like his hair is now different again. And like he really thought he was going to come in and like be the big guy on the show. And so like when you called out my mustache and my mohawk, like he's sensitive about it. And so like if you could call out how cool his hair is, I think that would really help.
Okay, sounds good. Landon, we're done. We just had some nachos. Would you like to come back and chat? Your hair is blue and it looks great, man. I just want to tell you that.
He literally left the call.
Did he really throw himself out? Yeah.
Oh, he's back.
I'm back. Sorry to barge in. I forgot something. Did I miss
no, we're
anything?
good. No, we're good. We're all caught up now. Jeremiah did have something to tell you though.
Riverside legitimately just crashed, and so I actually did get booted from the call. Okay, I'm recording.
Okay, where were we again?
Okay, this is show now. We were trying to do a bit, but Riverside has now kicked one of us out 4 times in a row as soon as we try to start. So I'm officially calling the bit over. Jeremiah, please move on with the show.
Well, we did want to compliment your hair, was the whole bit. Your hair looks really great, Landon.
Oh, it crashed again. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh, stop it.
Oh, I was so triggered.
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate it. For listeners who may or may not see this on social media this week, my hair is now a dark blue. I was looking for a way to grow out the roots a bit more discreetly. I don't know if that's a good word for it. With a less stark of a contrast between the roots and the colored part. So I now have dark blue hair instead of turquoise hair.
And we love you for it, but we love you with the turquoise hair too. So
it's true.
It's good all over. It's good all the way around. I wish I had like a smooth transition from this into like the events of the weekend, but I don't. So let's just say like, man, there's a lot of heavy stuff going on in Central Texas. And if you were affected by it, or people you know were affected by it, or like if you're just feeling like down and sad like I was this afternoon without really understanding why, like we're here for you. And I thought about landing this quote from a couple weeks ago when we talked on the show about, I don't remember who the original source was, but like of the unimportant things, like soccer is the most important. And I feel like this weekend and what's happened and what will continue to happen throughout Central Texas is probably a real highlight of that. And I kind of appreciate that like we have this show and the ability to talk about soccer to get away from it just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, our hearts definitely go out to anyone affected by the flooding. And that is, of course, why the game this weekend was canceled due to weather conditions. I'll be honest, I did not expect them to cancel this game, although I do think it was the right thing to do. I think the pitch can handle that kind of weather, and LAFC is already like mini games behind as far as like games played in this season. So I really did think that the league and the teams would try to push forward with this one, but I think it was the right call to just, people travel from all over the place to come to these games. So kudos to them, I guess, is the point there of actually looking at the bigger picture and saying, hey, let's actually not risk it here.
Yeah, and I think overall the club has done a really good job of like pointing people to resources for both if you need support right now or if you want to donate time, money, items, right? Like their website has a whole section of like resources for the community on both sides of that. And so overall, I'm pretty impressed with how Austin FC has handled such a like horrible thing happening in our community.
Yeah, and some love from the national soccer community as well. Goss and Bogert started out soccer-wise today with a message about it. Matt Doyle on his power rankings, he had Austin at 20 or 22 or whatever. And instead of saying anything about the team, he just linked to resources or a way to donate to like an aid website or something that would go to folks affected by the flood. So again, yeah, just a reminder that this is not important and that this is a much smaller community than it feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the rest of the show here. Again, no match, but let's talk about the rain out from an Austin FC soccer perspective. Do we think that this little bit of extra break was good for the team here, or is it more of a continue of the loss of momentum that we experienced against Seattle?
Well, I think for me, it depends upon like how much you put in the Seattle game, because I would say the results on the field were like all the momentum was already lost. And so a break doesn't hurt anymore. I think it helps just because we'll talk about this. We've got a game on Tuesday and a game on Saturday, and those don't step on each other's toes very much. And a game Saturday night, and the potential for like players to pick up knocks, for things to go on Saturday night, I feel like takes a bigger downside than the guys getting a full week of practice with everybody back, right? Because we knew people had a long break last week, and then also, some time ahead. So I was like, it seems like it's probably a net positive, or, not a negative at the very least.
Yeah, I think in the like macro of the whole season, probably not a big deal either way. But specifically for the Open Cup, I think it's really good that we didn't have to play on Saturday, so that we can play a real first choice strongest 11 going into that game on Tuesday without any of the like conditioning concerns that you might have on that short term around.
Yeah. We'll talk more about this Open Cup match later in the show. But first, I think this is probably the biggest news of the week, is we have a player rumor that seems to be getting more and more legitimate by the day. This is Diego Palacios, 25-year-old Ecuadorian left back, formerly played for LAFC, and was a everyday starter for that championship team in 2022, and had the winning assist to Gareth Bale in the final as well. He's been at Corinthians in Brazil for the last couple of years, has almost not played. I think like 4 games.
4 games in 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, since he joined them. So not getting time there. I questioned the validity of this report at first, but there was one report out of Brazil saying that they were in talks, another report saying that this is all but done. And the second one seems to be maybe like a less widespread source, maybe less reputable source, but it has so many specific details attached to it that it would be wild if they were making all of it up.
Yeah, is this a situation where like you start a lie and then you just have to like keep going with it? And if so, like this one goes really far. We find out that there's a $3 million mandatory buy clause on this loan that will happen from now until June of next year. And if he plays 50% of the matches between those times, it's a mandatory buy clause. So like this definitely feels like, I got to keep spinning a yarn if it's not true, right? But it feels crazy to make all of this up if it's not real.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I didn't believe it at first is because he is a left back, and we have two of those already. Not to say, I think Palacios is probably better than both of them, if not definitely better than both of them.
He's certainly a completely different profile, right? He's like one of the best 1v1 defenders in MLS. And what he lacks in going forward necessarily, he certainly makes up for in defensive responsibility.
Yeah, but how do we feel about spending $3 million on a player that plays a position that we do not need this year?
Well, I'm still trying to get my head around somebody who excels at defending, which is, even among defenders is something that Austin's never had a lot of. So to that point, yeah, I mean, the $3 million seems crazy. But you're looking at a guy that's he's 25, and he was starting, he was like 20 when he was starting for LAFC. So, clearly like a ton of upside, like young as a defender. I don't know where this fits into the overall roster build. I'm very much in the, it's not my money. And I don't feel like either of the left backs are so great that I believe that they couldn't be replaced. So I'll pay it. Sure. Why not?
Thanks, Jeremiah. That's very generous of you.
Yeah, so equanimous.
Yeah. So I think to me, this is further evidence that Rodo is, his roster build right now is not really focused on winning this year, and that he is trying to build as strong a roster as he can with the players that come available when they do, and is kind of aiming for the long-term build, which is fine to a point, right? Like, at what point will that stop being okay? At what point will fans get impatient? And I would say, if in the next 6 months we sign a couple of players that really make this team a contender, and with these kind of money smart moves that he's made here and there, that from a salary cap perspective, our roster is built in a sustainable way, then he looks pretty smart then. But if the roster still looks this weirdly built at the beginning of the 2026 season, and we don't have any chance creators, and we still have 3 left backs and no number 10s, I think Austin fans should and will be asking some very serious questions at that point.
Yeah, I almost wonder how much of this deal is about, to your point, a team in 2025 versus a team in 2026, right? And depending on how it's structured and what the money looks like, there could be a situation where it's for both. I think the thing that people maybe discount when they say this isn't a now move is just how much better a player like Diego Palacios is than either of our current left backs. And we have a buyout. Neither of those guys are making a ton of money. Neither of them are on super long contracts. So if we have to get rid of a left back, there's a mechanism in place for us to do that. I think there's a better few candidates for those same mechanisms in other places of the roster. But I was talking to Phil West from Verde All Day about this earlier today, and I said Guilherme Biru is a better third center back than Julio Cascante and a better second left back than John Kolmanich. And so if you improve in one roster spot and then get 2 better backups from that move, it doesn't look as crazy maybe.
I get what you're saying, but there's just this gaping hole in this team right now, and it is not at left back.
For sure. Agreed with that completely. But I don't think a sporting director is able to or is only doing one move at a time, right? And if he is, that's a gigantic problem.
But we run out of spots too. Like,
I was going to say this is the biggest issue that we haven't talked about yet. It's like there's one senior roster spot, one international spot. It's a ton of holes. Like, is this where you choose to fill it? I don't think so.
Yeah, and I think that's where the questions of like the specificity of this loan deal start to get way more interesting. Because if Corinthians is like agreeing to pay, what was it, $660,000 a year of this loan, of this player's salary.
That was the report, is that they would be paying, I think, $55,000 per month. Again, very specific. But like you said, it's 600 some odd thousand. He was making $560 guaranteed at LAFC. He left to make more money. So let's assume he's making $200,000 to $300,000 more there. That covers a big chunk of it, which means he is a very cheap player until the end of this loan, which makes it less risky. And
depending on how cheap he is, right, it could end up being a supplemental spot instead of a senior spot until the end of the loan. And so at that point, like, given that he had a green card when he was playing for LA, so he would be domestic. I don't know how long you have to like keep a green card when you've left the country, but like,
I think similar things have happened. Like, it's been confirmed that a player left the country and came back and was still able to use their green card. Again, 2 years. I don't know if it lasts that long, but it's not unheard of. And
so if he is supplemental because of the money coming in from Brazil and he's domestic, like that's a free roster spot basically
for a year. And then it's a slightly more expensive roster spot. But this guy was one of the top 3 best left backs in the whole league in 2022. I think he's had some injury issues in Brazil, which is part of why he didn't ever get regular playing time and struggled to come back from them. So I think that's probably part of the trial period here, where if he can't stay healthy, then he's not going to play 50% of the appearances, and therefore that $3 million trigger won't be
a problem.
Right. Yeah. Then we just send him back to Brazil and dust our hands off. But yeah, I think this is in a vacuum. I say this with every Austin FC signing. In a vacuum, I think this is a good move. But for this team right now, it's a little bit crazy.
Yeah. You know, the rumor I want to hear more about, Landon. So if you could just like make that happen, is the rumor about Tutti. I don't care if he's good. I don't care. I don't care. I just want him on the team because he fills a position in need. He's a U22 eligible guy, and he's got like the coolest. He would have the coolest Austin FC jersey.
Oh,
last name Tutti, or not last name, but like the name on the jersey being Tutti would be so sick.
And I think because he's had that on a top flight jersey before, they would let him wear it in MLS.
Yeah. So like make it happen for my wardrobe.
Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. Let's go ahead. We'll do an ad read. Michael, smile at us while we read this copy that is totally off the top of our heads, and then we get into the previews of the week. And then later you have a game which neither Mike nor I know anything about. So yeah, these are always fun.
The nature of the game makes it as such that you can't know what it is until we start.
Great.
Are we playing now?
No, later.
Okay.
Hang tight. We'll be right back.
When no one is around.
Moon Tower Soccer is brought to you by our friends at FEF Law, the official injury lawyers of Austin FC.
FEF is a different kind of personal injury law firm dedicated to community, transparency, and client education. And they have their own podcast called Summary Judgment. You can check it out wherever you get your podcasts.
You can go to FEF.law to find out what makes FEF a different kind of injury law firm and why understanding your legal options can dramatically change the outcome of a case. Once again, that's FEF.law. Amplify Credit Union is a member-owned financial cooperative that served the needs of Central Texans for over 5 decades. As a credit union, Amplify has no shareholders or parent companies. That means more of your money stays in the community.
Amplify has been the home of fee-free banking since 2022. Their free checking accounts come with 0 overdraft fees or minimum balances, That means Amplify's fee-free checking accounts. Man, like, I wrote this copy. I could, like, use fewer F words, and probably it would still be okay. So anyhow, more mileage for your everyday spending. Go to Amplify. They're great.
Amplify membership is open to any Texas resident. Learn to trust your bank again at Amplify Credit Union. So learn more and to register for free parking at the Amplify Esperanza branch on game day, go to www.goamplify.com/moontower-soccer.
Learning that you did that to yourself, Jeremiah, is wild.
We're also brought to you once again by St. Blaine's Hot Sauce. Folks in the Patreon know how good this hot sauce is because you tasted it. I took it to 4th of July stuff with family, and folks were putting it on their breakfast. Everyone loved it. They wanted to know where to order more. If you are one of those people and would like to order more or your first taste of it, you can go to stblaineshotsauce.com. You can also find them most Saturdays at the Sunset Valley Farmers Market, second Saturday market days in Georgetown, and a few other places which you can find confirmed on their website and on their social media accounts, which you can find on their website. Mike, have you gotten the opportunity to taste this hot sauce yet?
I haven't, and every week I say to myself, I'm going to order a bottle so that I can try it, and I always forget because we're out of the Moon Tower Morita garlic, right?
We can debut this now. Blaine said that he could make us more.
Yo, let's go, Blaine!
So we'll get that formally announced maybe in the next week or two. But
Too late. Formally announced now, baby.
Blaine also said that he could send y'all some as a little sampler box if you wanted it.
Yes, please.
But it is very good. Again, the mustard, the Thai chili mustard is so good. Mwah, I love it. But yeah, go to stblaineshotsauce.com. Sorry, that's BLANE, stblaineshotsauce.com. Get you some of the good stuff. Okay, we are back. We have 2 games to preview this week. Jeremiah, where should we start here?
Let's start with the game on Tuesday night, which is either going to be today or in the past for many of you that listen to this show. So, we're not going to do a lot of predicting because, like, it's going to be late, for a lot of people. So it's the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinal match on Tuesday night against San Jose in San Jose. Those of you that don't know, the U.S. Open Cup's like the oldest soccer tournament in the United States. In theory, Landon's Sunday League. I think this is true because your Sunday League, well, not your co-ed team, probably. Like,
yeah,
if you had a men's league team on a Sunday, it could theoretically end up playing in the U.S. Open Cup at Q2. Probably take a lot of rounds to get there, but long-standing tournament. It's one that when you get to this late in the tournament, this is where you see teams start to prioritize this. This is one of the things that I think is interesting about this matchup ahead is how much import do teams put on this round, and it probably helps Austin if there wasn't a game on Saturday. So let's maybe talk about the road to get here for both clubs.
Yeah, so San Jose, they had a fairly secure 2-1 win at home versus Sacramento Republic. And then the next round, they beat the Portland Timbers 1-0. They scored that goal in extra time. It was kind of a wild one. And then Austin, they had that scary 3-2 win against El Paso, where we went into halftime. All of us had pretty much given up on it, and then they scored 3 goals in a handful of minutes to win that one. And then a 3-1 win at home against Houston that was a bit less nervy, to say the least. And Julio Cascante got a red card in that game and will therefore be suspended for this game. More on that later. Let's talk about San Jose. So they are currently 6th in the West. And this whole week with the Earthquakes and the Revs, I think the theme of this week is going to be, wait, I thought that guy played for the Revolution. Or wait, I thought that guy played for the Earthquakes. And you're not crazy. You are probably right, because Bruce Arena, who got hired at the Earthquakes, was it in preseason, I guess, this year?
Yeah.
Or was it last year?
What did he do is the question to get fired from the Revs.
We will
But that's
never know, Mike.
That's a different conversation. The boys over at Steph and our best podcast friends, Happy Foot, Sad Foot, have been asking this question since the start of the season. What did Bruce Arena do? That's all we want to know.
Yeah, there's it was a very dramatic thing even outside of Bruce Arena. I'm sure there's a giant Reddit post if you want to go find that somewhere, listeners. But anyway, he brought in, I think, 7 players from the Revs to San Jose and then sent 2 players, maybe more than that, back to New England as well. So he does have a lot of familiar faces. They have a super deadly attack right now. Chicho Arango has 10 goals. Joseph Martinez has 8 goals in, I think, like 400 fewer minutes than Chicho. And then Christian Espinosa, who Austin FC fans know and hate because he always seems to do bad things against us. He has 11 assists and 4 goals this season. Bruce Arena teams often kind of play. Do y'all know about, I don't know if this was nationwide, but at least in Texas, I think it was nationwide, or at least in a lot of parts of the country, women's basketball for a long time was 6 aside, and 3 players were full-time defense, 3 players were full-time offense. And so those 3 players couldn't, like, if you were on one side, you could not cross mid-court to the other side of the field or the other side of the court. That is a little bit how those really good New England Revolution teams played under Bruce Arena, where he had 4 or 5 guys who were the attackers, 4 or 5 guys who were the defenders, and they kind of stuck to their side of the field. This San Jose team that's kind of started to click recently look a little bit like that, where they just have all this firepower up front, some more defensive-minded people up in the back, and everyone kind of sticks to their job there.
Yeah, that feels right.
Well, I was going to say one thing is Marla Bentley did play that kind of basketball, and she was on the offensive side of the 6. Did Cindy Cottom play that too?
Cindy Cottom played, I don't remember what side she was on, but her coach, this probably doesn't mean anything to you, Mike, but Jeremiah should recognize this name. Her coach at Lockney High School, somehow, some way, was Marcia Sharp, who went on to coach at Wayland Baptist and kind of put them on the map in that era of women's basketball, and then went to Texas Tech and became a Hall of Famer and won the national title. But for whatever reason, she was coaching in Lockney, Texas for a little stretch.
And the main road in Lubbock. One of the main roads in Lubbock is named after her now, too, right? Like
it
the
is.
one that goes closest to campus? Okay. Yeah. But okay. That was way on the side. But this is very... The interesting thing is, like, it's so different from the way San Jose has played. So I'm interested in like how the guys who kind of have been there a while, because you can't turn over the whole roster in a few months, like, have adapted to that.
I mean, he certainly tried. He brought 7 dudes. That's almost the whole roster. Like,
and Hernan Lopez, who I think they spent $6 million on last preseason, they just sent him out on loan because he didn't really fit what they were trying to do and hadn't been very good this year. And so he said, okay, see you later, bye. And then the midfielders with Ian Harks and Mark Anthony Kay and a couple of other guys, those are his guys. And so Dave Romney has been kind of a mainstay on the back line, where San Jose, the older San Jose teams had these swashbuckling fullbacks, and Natan, who was the like overlapping center back who scored more goals than he put in tackles. Like, those guys are gone. Those guys are not playing anymore. So he really has overhauled as much as he could. And then the ones who are seeing the field are mostly guys that he's brought in.
yeah, and then like kids, and the players who are a little bit more flexible, the Beau LaRues of the world,
So looking at Austin's approach to this game, as you mentioned, like, without playing that game on Saturday, we have the ability to really just pick our best 11 without any thought of it affecting the game on Saturday. One thing that's worth pointing out, and credit to Zach from the North End Pod, is they always do their breadcrumbs digging through Instagram posts and trying to find little clues. He noticed something, which for the U.S. Open Cup, you can only have 18 players on your match day roster, as opposed to the normal, is it 20 or 21? 20. So 2 fewer guys. Zach counted 17 players that appeared in photos or video on the Austin FC Instagram posts of them traveling to California. The only 2 players he hasn't seen on the first team roster are Hader Obrian and Brendan Heinzike. With Julio Cascante suspended from his red card in the Houston game, if Heinzike did not get on that plane, then it means that Guilherme Biru is probably going to be starting at center back, which is not great against a team where We said the numbers earlier, right? Arango, Martinez, Espinosa. It's not great to have Beaver playing center back in that situation.
Maybe Heinzike is already in San Jose.
He went early because he was so excited.
Yeah. Maybe
Who doesn't love San Jose?
he just loves that airport hotel, the one that's like right outside the airport, right across the street from the stadium. Just couldn't wait to get there. Extra Marriott points.
I would say the encouraging thing is that midweek press availability on Thursday, Heinzike was the player they sent out to talk to us. And so they're expecting him to play in the Saturday game against LAFC. So if he's not there, it's not as if their training schedule changed a lot because they were expecting to play on Saturday. So they probably had a training on Sunday, maybe something super light on Monday. So if either it's maybe like a personal issue that kept him out of whatever game that was, hopefully that's not the case, or he somehow got injured in their half day of training they did between Thursday and now. Hopefully this is just wild speculation and he just didn't happen to make it into one of these photos.
He's camera shy, right? Like, but yeah, there's no way that this is a DNP like coach's decision, right? With given what Austin has, and at some point when this, speaking of airport hotels, when this show is done, I'll talk to you about a time I spent at the fabulous Anaheim Airport Marriott with Gilbert Arenas and a whole bunch of other people, like after a Lakers game. But that's like a time for like another show, not this one.
Moon Tower After Dark.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, right. New Year's Day, I've got a whole story with like 20 people that Gilbert Arenas is at the center of. But yeah, I don't think there's any way that Heinzike is not that other person, other than it's either this weird family situation, personal situation, we don't even know if it's family, but or some kind of training injury.
So aside from the left side of our back line, what else are going to be kind of the points of interest in this game?
Who's playing on the left side of the offense?
Which you're not going to call necessarily the wing.
Right, because
Left
we don't know.
somewhere.
We don't know. Yeah. We don't know if they'll line up as a 4-4-2 with a wide midfielder or like what they're going to do. But somebody's got to provide width on the left side, right?
Who do y'all want to see
Conceptually?
there? Jeremiah, who do you want?
I want to like this is going to go back to something we've talked about a lot, but I want to see Robert Taylor. We haven't seen what Robert Taylor can do, and the U.S. Open Cup feels like a fairly low risk, great situation to see what he can contribute to this team for the rest of the year.
Does Rodriguez still play for San Jose on the right of like a back three?
I'm not sure if he's been playing or not.
Because if so, I want to see Mirtu Ozuni cook a guy. And like he feels like the center back most likely to do a Julio Cascante impression. And that's what I think Mirtu needs.
Okay, different question now. That's what you want. What do you think we'll see? Is it the same thing?
It's
or is it
John
something
Gallagher,
different?
and you know it.
That's what I'm afraid of. Is John Gallagher and Robert Taylor and Mirtu Uzuni on the bench. Or something that might make me even more frustrated is John Gallagher on the left side of a 4-4-2 with Uzuni and Vasquez up top. I'm done with that. I don't want to see it again.
It's fair.
And what else is, I guess in the midfield, I'm expecting to see kind of the same midfield we've been seeing with Sabovic, Pereira, and Wolf operating there. I know I talked about last week with the rotation that this may be a good opportunity to start Ilie, but since we don't have to rotate, I say play your best 11, and it seems like Nico Estevez thinks his best 11 does not include Ilie Sanchez at this point in time.
Well, and Basard Sabovic's impending yellow card doesn't affect league play because this is the Open Cup. So he can get another yellow in this match, and it's fine.
It's also worth pointing out that this could potentially go 120 minutes. And so that's something worth keeping in mind as well. Like, which guys, like if you put someone on the field, you're either saying, I think this person can go 120, or I am okay with them not being on the field at the end of the game.
So we're guaranteeing a John Gallagher start. He's
the only one that can do it. Yeah.
He's the only one.
Oh no, I just talked my way into that one, didn't I? I think that could be a reason to not start Mircea Uzuni in this one, with him coming off of a little bit of a knock. They're saying they're being careful with him. He's the kind of guy that I know he hasn't been as sharp as we wanted him to, but end of a game, ball lands at someone's feet in the box. Of the available options, he's one of the guys I would want it to fall to. Regardless of what we've seen this year, just the body of evidence is too big. I would still want it to fall to him or Vasquez there.
Yeah.
And so I like wish casting this here now. We get Robert Taylor, left wing. Uzuni comes on late, be it at striker or left wing, wherever, and sees out the rest of the game. That's kind of what I hope to see. And whatever happens, I hope whoever's on the field does as much as they can to prove that they should be there and makes the decision even more difficult next week. But right now, it's kind of difficult for the wrong reasons.
And I think Gallagher coming in as a late game sub is like so valuable because he can come in so many different places. Like being able to start Dessler and then have Gallagher come in the 60th, 75th, whenever, and play out the rest of that 120 if necessary is like such a benefit, right? And so I think the best option would be a Robert Taylor or Izuni start, and then the other one coming in for them.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, let's move on to. Well, actually, let's maybe simmer on the Open Cup-ness of it a little bit here. This is a big opportunity for Austin, right? Like, season hasn't gone like we wanted it to. Making it to the semifinal of this tournament. I know all the best teams aren't in it necessarily this year, but it still matters. It's still a knockout tournament. It still means something to go deep in it. So I know different fans have different thoughts about what taking it seriously means. I don't think anybody's going into this game not going to try to win it. There's no need to rotate. So I think it would be really encouraging to fans to see them go on the road in a knockout tournament and get a win. At the very least, put up a fight, give some reason to be excited, and hopefully that means a win in this tournament and we can keep moving on. And then hopefully that can turn into some momentum in the regular season because we need it right now.
Yeah, and I think overall, right, the teams that are in the Open Cup, there are some bad teams still, but like for the most part, it's not like it's the bottom of the table overall. You know, Philly's still in there. Minnesota is still
Minnesota on our side, yeah.
Right. San Jose is in 6th, right? Like that's a playoff team. Like these aren't, it's not like it's just crappy teams, you know? Chicago's still in, and Chicago, I think, is probably better than their current 9th place would say that they are. And so like there's some good clubs. Nashville is in 2nd in the East and they're still in the Open Cup. So like, yeah, I don't think it's as easy a path to victory as maybe we thought it might be at the start of the year. These teams are really good that are in it, and it would mean a lot to Austin to win it.
All right, let's move on to New England. Jeremiah, tell us about New England.
Well, Mike's from New England, so I thought we were just going to like look at him and let him do this whole thing. But yeah.
Oh, you have a prop,
right, yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
Bring out your prop.
Oh, yeah.
All right, kid. All right, kid. Here's the deal, right? So it's 2011, and I think
Mike is now wearing a green Boston Red Sox hat for the listeners at home.
I think it's about time we're finally going to see Bobby Shuttleworth get some stats here. You know, like Lee Wynn in the midfield, he's getting a little bit older, but he's still a centerpiece that you can build a team around. And Diego Fagundes, you know, that kid's going to be good. Like my New England reference basically stops in 2013 when I moved to Austin. Like that is the last time that I really paid deep attention to the Revs was that 2013 season. Shawry Joseph, he had just retired, kid. Like that guy was a legend. We're putting his jersey up in the rafters. We're building the statue, kid. Like, and so like that's about it. That's what I know. I know what all of these guys would be called. if you like show me their names, I can tell you their Boston nickname, but like that's about the knowledge that I have. Other than that, Caleb Porter is not a good MLS coach.
And he's maybe one of the least likable people in the game.
Yeah. And so he's got this team playing bad soccer. They're in 11th in the East. And like it's only a matter of time before he gets fired. And like we're pretty good at getting coaches fired. So I'm just saying.
You say this is our chance. Yeah, I would say like for those of you that specific people I can think of out here that like didn't like Josh Wolf, like Caleb Porter is a worse version of Josh Wolf. Like he's less agreeable and likable to press. Probably
He's
less good at coaching soccer.
Yeah.
He's won more to his credit.
He's won more, yeah.
He always follows winning up by losing and being run out of town on a pole.
Yeah, so like guys, specifically the 11th East right now, I think we all agree that the Eastern Conference is lesser than the Western Conference. We talked last week about the fact that Austin's schedule in the league gets a lot easier after Seattle, and this is one of the matches that we were pointing at. We were talking about it, so this is another one of those at home against a team that's not very good. You really hope Austin would find a way to pick up enough goals to win this match.
Yeah, they brought in Leo Campana, who I think, Mike, you were big on.
Oh,
Campana,
yeah, I think
right?
he's
like I really
amazing.
wanted him as well for Austin. He's gone there, has been injured, has not really done a ton there, and hasn't been on the field all that much. Carlos Heel has kind of had a resurgence. He's 7 goals, 7 assists, but when you look at the stat leaders below him, it really drops off from there. And they've had
Also,
what is
4 of those goals have been penalty goals. So like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, let's but like that's kind of Carlos's whole thing is like every set piece, every moment of magic for the New England Revolution is around Carlos Heel.
Real quick, what's Carlos Heel's Boston nickname?
Charlie.
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 And then Leo Campana,
Charlie Gill.
is it just Leo with an accent?
He'd probably be Campy
Campy, there you go.
because you got to put a Y on it. Like,
They also
I want to go back to Boston. So I've been
it's important
rewatching
too that we talk about the New England Revolution being like an hour outside of
Foxborough,
Boston on
yeah.
a one-way, like 1 lane each way road. It's impossible to get to. The fact that they represent themselves as being from Boston is garbage. What was your question, Jeremiah?
Wait, so even less Dallas than Frisco. Okay, gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I've been rewatching Cheers, which ages terribly, but also it's funny, and I kind of hate myself for laughing at it. How accurate is it?
So I have been to the bar that inspired Cheers, and I have been to the Cheers bar that they built based on the set. And I will say that the bar that inspired Cheers was way less friendly than Cheers made it seem. Folks who know, like, I always describe Boston as being a place where you go to the same place every day and no one talks to you and everyone is mad. And then something bad happens to you and all of those people show up to do harm to the person that did bad to you. Because they're your family and they have your back. Whereas in Austin, like you go to one place once and like everyone's super nice to you the whole time, but they will like, you'll never see them again. And so like that aspect of Cheers is super real. That like, this is a family. It just, no one's that nice.
Jeremiah, we also just started watching Cheers for the first time since I think I saw it like on as a kid when it was on reruns and haven't seen it since. We're only season 1, so I haven't seen too much of the super poorly aged stuff, but I think it's really good. Like the first season at the very least is really well written and really, really funny.
My friend Sarah's dad was a recurring character on Cheers. We can talk about that after the show.
Oh yeah, you'll have to tell me who it is. Okay, where were we? So like we said, we won't really have to worry about rotation. We do have a game the following Wednesday, right? So that might be a bit of a concern, but I think that's a problem for Wednesday and not a problem for Saturday. So that shouldn't be an issue. Maybe Tuesday will inform what we think we might see on Saturday, but I'd expect it to be whatever Nico thinks is the best available 11 that he has at that point in time. Are there any other opportunities we see here? I mean, New England hasn't given up a ton of goals, but they've also not scored a ton of goals. I think this is going to be one of those ones, like, don't make any big, stupid mistakes and finish at least one of your chances, and that might be enough.
The curse narrative returns because New England has not scored that many goals, but they've scored 10 more than us and are like 2 expected goals behind us in the rankings. Like we have scored 2, or we should have scored 2 more goals than they should have scored. And so the curse returns, boys.
Yeah, I think you have to hope the guys who hoped we would score all season long and haven't somehow find a way. Like that's what it comes down to. Your point on Wednesday, Landon, that's also the last game before the All-Star game break. So you can kind of run, other than well-deserved All-Star Brendan Vasquez, you can kind of run guys like as long as you want because everybody's going to have a long break afterward.
Yeah, it's really important that we give Brandon Vasquez a break so that he's fresh for the All-Star game.
So he can play his 20 minutes in the All-Star game. All right, let's move on to a few other pieces of Austin FC news before we move on to the game that I'm very excited about. Jeremiah, what do we have?
All right, so we have a new date for an Austin FC home game versus Seattle in September. I guess like the league saw enough of that amazing match earlier and wanted to get more eyes on what was going to come. So it was originally set for Saturday, September 20th at 7:30. Will now be Sunday the 21st at 6 and will be featured as the Sunday Night Soccer Match of the Week on Apple TV.
Yeah, hopefully it's cooled off enough by then that is not a temperature issue. But aside from that, that's kind of fun to be the match of the week. What else do we have?
We've got our own Brendan Vasquez, who is up for possibly MLS team captain. Although it's a fan vote, and I don't feel like it's messy, right? Like there's literally nobody else that stands a chance in a fan vote for captain other than Leo Messi.
Yeah, I think if Austin fans felt like he had a chance, that there could be a concerted effort to force Brandon Vasquez in as captain. But from just anecdotally, what I've heard around the Austin FC community is like, nah, it's going to be Messi. Who cares? And so I don't really see him getting voted in here either.
Then we also got news that two of the guys for the MLS Next All-Star game. We've got 2 Austin players in that one, Nico Artstabel and Christian Ayala. And did we know the date of the game until this week at all? Like,
yeah,
come through?
It did. I don't know how publicly it had been promoted, but in like the media stuff they had sent out, it had been listed as Monday. So MLS Next All-Star game is Monday night at Palmer Field. Skills Challenge is Tuesday night at Q2. All-Star game is Wednesday night at Q2. But yeah, we're going to have 2 Austin FC players on this team. Irvin Torres played in it last year, I believe, or maybe 2 years ago. Gavin Wolf played in it last year, I believe. I think Micah Burton maybe played in it a few years back as well. So carrying on the tradition of having Austin players involved, hopefully they can show out and represent Austin well in that. I think, Jeremiah, you're going to be out of town for all of All-Star Week. Is that right? But Mike and I were talking earlier about
I'll be in Destin.
trying to go to...
Yeah,
we're going to try to be out there and watch these kids play.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
What's your
for
highlights of the week,
this.
Mike?
Sorry?
What's your highlight of the week, Mike? Like thinking like through the whole thing.
Honestly, it's hard to figure it out because I know the vibes on the field will be best at the unified All-Star game. There's nothing that will beat that for me. But then giant skee ball. And so, like, what are we even doing here if we're not talking about giant skee ball?
Yeah, I had a little bit of that. I was talking to a friend of mine in the firework. Look, we talk about how you shouldn't shoot fireworks off in the city. But maybe it rained on the 4th a lot. And I felt comfortable going and buying things that, like, went way high in the air, made giant explosions. So I was talking to a friend of mine that maybe it was at the same line. And he had gotten tickets to the All-Star game. And I was like, but giant skee ball night? Do you have tickets for that? And he's like, what is that? And it's like, I sold him on the skills challenge. And now he's going to that one too.
Yeah, of course. Because it's also like $6 if you're a season ticket holder at Austin FC. It's Like, you're leaving money on the table not going, I think.
To the layperson, I think you can describe it as the home run derby, but fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or like any of the EAFC mini games, but
Yeah,
in
there you
real
go.
life. You know, there's a shooting challenge, and there's most importantly, there's giant skee ball. Like, I cannot stress this enough. It's a gigantic skee ball machine with soccer players who get paid millions of dollars trying to play skee ball for us.
Or
What a
giant beer
benefit.
pong. Giant beer pong if you're a drinker. Basically the same game.
Just the players getting wasted midweek before a competitive match on Saturday. Having to drink a trash can full of beer. Okay, let's should we move on to the game, boys? I'm very excited about this. Is it time?
Yes.
Should we do an ad break?
Yes, let's take a break. We'll come back with, we're calling it Landon's game for reasons that will become apparent after the break. Hang tight.
Moon Tower Soccer is brought to you by Sage Wilson Realty. The Sage Wilson team is made up of Austin experts who are client-focused and have over 30 years of combined real estate experience. Our friends at Sage Wilson Realty are giving away 2 tickets to an upcoming match. Fill out the form and the show notes for your chance to win.
If you or someone you know are in need of Sage Real Estate advice in Austin, talk to our friends at Sage Wilson Realty. Be sure to check them out online at sagewilson.com.
Our premier sponsor is McGuire Woods Consulting, helping clients in the public affairs space from lobbying at the local, statewide, and federal levels to digital and communications campaigns across the country.
McGuire Woods Consulting has offices in 10 MLS cities, but only supports this podcast. Why, Mike Crignola?
Because we are going to win the U.S. Open Cup and Copa Tejas and the MLS playoffs and the Club World Cup.
Best team in the world!
Best team in the world! Contact our friends at McGuire Woods Consulting at mwcllc.com for more information.
Thanks for the save there. All right, we are back, and we are going to play a game. Jeremiah and Mike do not yet know what this game is, which the reason for that will become obvious as I start explaining the rules. So we've played something similar to this on the show before. And once again, I'm stealing this game outright from another show. This time I'm stealing from the Football Ramble. But it's okay to steal from them because I think they stole the game from Total Soccer Show, who stole the game from someone else. So this is essentially public domain at this point. The way this game works, and they call it Luke's game on the Football Ramble, so I'm calling it Landon's game because I'm lazy.
Stolen game.
Stolen valor. Okay, here's the rules. I will name a soccer player. One of you will be designated to go first. That person will bid the number of clubs that you can name where this player made an appearance. So the first person will bid. Their opponent will then have the opportunity to bid higher. And then the bidding will continue back and forth until someone makes a challenge. At that point, when someone's challenged, they will name the number of clubs that they bid. If they get them all right, then they get a point. If they don't, then their opponent gets a point. And so there's lots of opportunities for gamesmanship in the bidding process here. So like in poker, you can bluff and act like you can name more and try to force your opponent to go higher. But then you're risking getting called out if you go too high. So setting the right number with that first bid is crucial here.
This is the whole world, right?
We have played this game before.
We did it differently. It was more complicated before, which was the Total Soccer Show version, which I have to write out clues. And then
That's right.
You have to bid how many teams you want me to tell you. So this is simpler. I'm just going to tell you the player's name, and you tell me teams that they played for.
Great.
And this is like the world, like senior teams anywhere in the world, right?
No. I narrowed it down more specific to where you should know some of the teams that these players played for. Both
Sure,
of you
but
will
like we're not talking about their youth clubs or anything, right?
Okay, see, additional notes here. If you name an incorrect club, you instantly lose that point. So no gimmies there. Second teams and academies will not count, no matter how big they are. Then I have included college teams for the players who played college. However, I did not include semi-pro or lower level stints while the player was in college. Players will play college and then off season they'll go play in PSL or whatever. I didn't count those teams.
Got it.
But for players who played college in the United States, I did include those.
Okay.
I think the way that I did it, there's not any trick questions in that regard. It essentially just gives you more of an opportunity to name more clubs.
Yeah.
You won't be penalized for ones you don't know because you don't know them.
That's true.
I think this will be fairly clear as we go on, but I have two categories. The first one is current Austin FC players. The second category is MLS journeyman.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
And so we're going to start with current Austin FC players. We'll let Mike go first since he's our guest today. So I'm going to start Mike off. Your player is Brad Stuver. I have 6 clubs that he has made appearances for. How many do you think you can name?
I can name 3.
Jeremiah, can you name 4 or do you want to challenge Mike?
Wow. Such a good number, Mike. Because I can also name 3. I'm going to go 4. I'll go over.
Okay, Mike, do you want to challenge or do you want to go for 5?
I will challenge.
All right, Jeremiah, let's hear 4.
Okay. Austin, Columbus, New York
Correct.
City,
Correct.
Colorado.
Incorrect. The 6 teams.
Cincinnati was a college, right? Or his college was in Cincinnati?
No, it was in Ohio.
Yeah.
It was the Cleveland State Vikings. So,
Oh, he's in the Hall of Fame there, and like we've seen stuff from there. Right.
so
Should have gotten that one.
in order, we have Cleveland State Vikings. Then after college, he was drafted but not signed and became an MLS pool goalkeeper.
He was drafted
But-
by Montreal, right?
Correct, but did not get signed there and did not play for them. He is a pool goalkeeper where he also did not actually play for anybody. And then was signed by the Crew, went on loan to the Dayton Dutch Lions in 2014 and also to the Wilmington Hammerheads in 2014. Then NYCFC, Austin FC. So point goes to Mike here because Jeremiah was unable to name 4 clubs.
Can't believe you forgot about the Wilmington Hammerheads, Jeremiah.
No, the Cleveland State was the one I should have gotten because there was not getting anything else. Yeah.
Dayton erasure. Brutal.
Okay, I'm finding some sound effects to use here. If you hear the air horn, it means you got a question wrong.
What is the sound if we get the question right?
Ilya celebrating, I think, catching those little things in his hand or maybe
Yep.
getting trivia right. I don't remember. It was one from one of the social media videos. Okay, Jeremiah, you're going to go first on this one. This is another veteran Austin FC player. This is Brendan Heinzike, also 6 clubs. How many of Brendan Heinzike's clubs can you name?
I'll go 3 again.
3. All right, Mike, 4 or challenge?
Challenge.
All right, Jeremiah, let's hear it.
Austin, DC,
1, 2.
and New England. Damn it.
Court
Incorrect.
chick, baby.
Yeah, in order, the Creighton Blue Jays, then played a year at the University of South Florida, then Orebro in Sweden, Norway, one of those, then Kortrijk in Belgium, then DC United. I think he was loaned to DC United and then permanently transferred back to back, so that it still just counts as one, and then Austin FC in 2024. So another point to Mike.
Yeah, I knew 3.
Terrible game.
I did think that Mike was going to be very good at this one. And that's no shade to Jeremiah. I just think Mike specifically was probably going to be really good at this.
It's in my wheelhouse.
All right, next one. Mike, you're up again. Another veteran Austin FC player. This is Ilie Sanchez. 5 clubs. Remember, second teams do not count.
Yep.
How many can you name?
I can do 3.
All right. Jeremiah?
Hang it, I could also do 3. All right, go for it, Mike. I'll challenge.
All right. I can do Austin, LAFC, and Kansas City. And can I guess Elche?
That is one of the others is Elche.
Let's go.
So
Wow.
Started in the Barca Academy. I think played at some other places throughout. Went back and was playing at Barca B. Then went to 1860 Munich, which I believe is that where Josh Wolf and Greg Berhalter played? Or was that another German team?
Thought that was, I can't remember.
Anyway, usually second division team. Then to Elche, then SKC, LAFC, Austin FC. So 3, is that 3 points to Mike now?
Yeah. So here's an annoying question. Because Barca B competed up to the second division in Spain, do they count as a full team, or would that have been an academy second team
exceptions.
Situation? Great.
No
Okay.
exceptions. Second teams don't count.
Great.
Creighton Blue Jays do count.
You understand the confusion here.
I love this game.
I told you the rules before we started.
No, I know. I just asking.
Okay, Jeremiah, you're up. Another veteran Austin FC player. This is Diego Rubio. I wrote 6 here, but that is not true. How many clubs is this? This is 8 clubs. How many you got?
I can only do 2.
Mike?
I feel very chastened by my overconfidence in previous answers.
Yeah, I can only do 2 as well.
Do you want to guess or you want to challenge?
I'm gonna go 3.
Let's hear it. Or Jeremiah, you want to try for 4?
I'll challenge. I'll challenge. No, I'll challenge.
All right, Austin, and then Colorado, and then I can see their logo in my head. The Chilean team. It's Deportivo somebody, and I can't think of. Yeah, I don't know. I can't do it.
Point goes to Jeremiah. Diego Rubio's clubs in order. So the other MLS team was Sporting Kansas City.
I didn't remember that.
He also played for another Sporting. So it started at Colo Colo in Chile, which that's like one of the big teams there. Then moved to Sporting Club de Portugal in Lisbon. Was on their books for several years, didn't play a lot for them, went on loan a couple of times. One time to Panduri Targu Jiu in Romania, I believe.
Obviously.
Then to Sandnes Ulf, which I think was Norway. Then to Valladolid, Sporting Kansas City, Colorado Rapids, Austin FC. I did not remember that he played for Sporting in Portugal. That one kind of surprised me there.
I only remember Sporting Kansas City because I remember Nate Buchanan saying that he loved him. Oh, Nate Buchanan actually said, if you have the dump button, this guy's a mother, but you're going to love him when he's on your team. That was probably off air.
I don't think he would mind us sharing that, though.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that concludes the current ATX player category. I believe we're 3-1 in favor of Mike. Is that right?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay, we're going to go on to MLS Journeyman now. Some of these players may have connections to Austin FC. Some of them don't. First one does. We're going to start off with Felipe Martins, 11 clubs. And we're back to Mike, right?
Yeah. I can do 2.
Jeremiah, I think you can beat him.
I can do 3.
Mike, you want to one up or you want to challenge?
I'll challenge. because I can't think of a fourth.
All right, let's hear it, Jeremiah.
Austin, Orlando, Atlanta, I think. That one?
Wrong. Never played for Atlanta.
DC?
Played for DC. In MLS, it was Montreal Impact, New York Red Bulls, Vancouver Whitecaps, DC United, Austin, Orlando. Before that, started off in Padova, which I believe is Italy. Then FC Winter Tour, Winter Tour is just outside of Zurich, which I'm sure is beautiful, but probably barely got paid enough to live there. Then Lugano, Volin. I don't know where Volin is. Then came to MLS, Impact, Red Bulls, Whitecaps, DC, Austin, Orlando. Finished his career at Cascavel in Brazil. I think one of the lower divisions in Brazil. Okay, 4-1 to Mike. Is that right? Okay, Jeremiah, you're up again. Another former Austin FC player. So you got one for free there. This is Maximiliano Urruti. 9 clubs. How many you got?
I've got 3.
Michael,
I've got
can you name 4?
5.
5. Is that
Oh,
insta
geez.
challenge, Jeremiah?
Challenge. Yeah, go for it.
All right, let's
right.
hear him.
We have got Houston, Dallas, Austin, New England, and Montreal.
Jeez.
Got
Way
him.
to go, Mike.
Just thinking about his leg, because you can follow his like club career down his leg.
Yeah, in order, we've got Newell's Old Boys, which was Messi's boyhood club, Toronto FC, Portland Timbers, FC Dallas, Montreal Impact, Houston Dynamo, Austin FC, Platense in Argentina, and then came back to MLS and is with the Revs now.
Portland felt too easy. I wanted to go the deep cut of Montreal.
We
Okay.
were talking about Felipe, and I was going to say Montreal because I was trying to, but I was thinking about Maxi's tattoo. So I got the wrong guy. So I choked on it and guessed Atlanta.
I always remember Red Bulls in DC because they're kind of rivalry, and the fact that both of those teams loved him while he was there, Felipe. It's like, as long as you hate the guys we hate, you're on our team. All right, next one. Mike, you're up again. This player was not an Austin FC player, but we thought he was going to be for a little bit. This is Fabrice Jean-Ian Picot, better known as Fafa. How many clubs you got? I have 10 clubs listed here.
I've got 3.
Jeremiah, I think you can do this if you dig deep.
I got 4.
Challenge. Oh, I've got 4. Oh, well, it's too late.
I don't think he can catch you, so I think it would be better radio if you challenge here anyway.
Yeah.
All right. I've got Miami, Dallas, Houston, somewhere in Canada. Montreal.
It's
No.
Vancouver.
He played for Vancouver.
He scored on us when he was in Vancouver, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He also
Okay,
played for
cool.
Nashville, which I figured you would remember that one. So in order, Tampa Bay Rowdies, Fort Lauderdale Strikers, Sparta Prague, FC St. Pauli in Germany, the Philadelphia Union, FC Dallas, Houston, Nashville, Vancouver, Miami.
Well, I hate this game.
Okay, we're going to do one more just for kicks here. This is the journeyman of all journeymen. This is Kai Kamara.
It's harder to name a team that he hasn't played for.
I know, that's the game here, is like you can just go higher than you think you can do and then just guess, and you're probably going to get one. So this one is Jeremiah. Jeremiah, how many you want to start with?
I can do 4.
I can do 5.
Back to you, Jeremiah.
You name those 5 because I can't do 6.
All right. We'll go. Dude, where does he play now? He just
I've
got
seen him on
signed.
I've just seen him on TV flexing during some Club World Cup. Yeah.
Well, you just gave him a clue.
Yeah, that helps. So he's
No,
not.
it's an announcer, Landon, not a player.
Well, you just
No,
took
he
your
was-
clue. You gave him a fake clue, and now you just gave
Yeah,
him a
now
real
you
clue.
distracted me. It's all mind
Just saying
games
words
over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know he played for LA.
Wait,
I
how
know-
many did you? What was the bid?
5.
4? 5. Okay.
I know he played for LA. I know he played for
LA.
FC. I know he played. Sorry, I didn't say Carson. I know he played for Montreal. I know he played for Chicago.
That's 3.
I know he played.
Now just name any other MLS.
Right.
club.
Did he play for the Red Bulls?
No.
Ugh.
You picked one of the teams he didn't play for. He played in order: Cal State Dominguez Hills Toros, Columbus Crew, San Jose Earthquakes, Houston Dynamo, Sporting Kansas City, Norwich City in the Premier League, Middlesbrough in the Championship, the Columbus Crew again, New England Revolution, Vancouver Whitecaps, Colorado Rapids, Minnesota United, HIFK in Finland, CF Montreal, Chicago Fire, LAFC, currently with FC Cincinnati.
Cincy.
Okay,
That's right.
well, this was kind of a landslide victory in favor of Mike, but I hope everyone had fun anyway. I think I left enough meat on the bone that we could do this again sometime, and maybe y'all can study up in between now and then.
Get good.
And get some deep cuts, like
Read about random dudes.
yeah, like FC Winter Tour.
Landon, thanks for putting this game together.
Thanks for playing, guys. I think that is the end of the show. Anything else before we wrap up, fellas?
If we could get one more Riverside error, that I think would just really make my heart sing.
If it crashes, we're not doing the rest of it. I'm just leaving it and editing it as is. But we're going to give it the old college try anyway. We'd like to remind you to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Come find us on the internet, wherever you are on the internet. Sign up for the Patreon, where I believe, I'll confirm next week, but I believe we're going to be able to get more of the Moon Tower Marita and garlic hot sauce and can open that tier up again. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back next week where we will review this Open Cup game that you may or may not have already seen. We'll review the New England match, and then we'll preview LA Galaxy. And then is that the last one? We only have one that week, right?
Yeah, it is. And then we're off till the 28th because there's the 20-something, because there's a All-Star game week in between there.
Yeah. Jeremiah's going to be out of town that week. I believe me and Mike will be back that following week to do a show sometime that will come out sometime. More on that later, but we will have a show that week still. Until then, I'm Landon Cottom.
I'm Jeremiah Bentley.
And I'm Mike Cragnola.
We'll catch you next time.
when no one is around.
Think for nothing, you never.
La gente.
Oh my God.
Zula Chup Boom Boom sauce.
Yeah.
It looks like we're still recording though, so we can keep moving.
Okay. Do you want to go back to where do you want to go back to? Wow.
Jeremiah, if you want to compliment his hair again, though, we should take it from there.
Welcome back, Landon. We were talking about something very important and private, and not at all.
I can't
The
hear
fact-
you again.
This is because I made him press the GAM button.